First up this morning, please welcome the Senate Majority Leader, soon-to-be Senate President, Mitch Carmichael. Senator, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hoppy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How's that work? You have to wait until the legislature goes in session. There's a full vote. Is that how that works?
That is how it works, yes. But the party, the caucus, the Republican senators have nominated me to be the Senate President.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Although the story seems light in comparison to all the other things you have going on today.
There's a lot going on. Your big story was about a week ago when I reported that you had enough votes. So you. And when the legislature goes back into session, but Mitch, I know that there's a lot of state office holders, and also the federal, like all three Republican congressmen. I think Capito is there today. A big gathering of Republicans at the Capitol. I think you've been meeting with him this morning. What did y'all talk about today, if I may ask?
Well, there was, yes, I've been meeting with all the congressional delegation, the Republican congressional delegation, and Shelley was there as well, or Senator Capito. And we talked about the evolution and the transition to the Trump administration and some of the visions and goals that he's outlined in terms of how it will affect West Virginia as it relates to infrastructure projects, energy issues, fossil fuel industry, and all of the things that we in West Virginia are so interested in to get our economy going and our people back to work.
Do the Washington folks have any additional insight as to what a Trump administration may in fact mean, or specifically for West Virginia on the energy front?
Well, I guess in general, it's going to be better. So, as we look at it from the
well, it couldn't be worse. It could not be worse. It could not be worse from Washington.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's definitely going to be better. And when we are given, and you've said it over and over on your show, and you've had other guests, when we are given the opportunity to produce the natural resources that we have and our people can go to work, we will outperform any other state in the nation. We have every opportunity to be great, and when we get the government out of the way, sure, we want reasonable regulations and fair taxation and those type things, but this onerous sort of target on our back mentality that's come from the national administration has just hurt our people. And we're ready to change that, and we're embracing a great future here in West Virginia.
The Senate Majority Leader, soon-to-be Senate President Mitch Carmichael, Republican, Jackson County, is with us. So what are you working on an agenda for the session and you all go in session briefly in January, mid-January, for the inauguration of for the State of the State by incoming Governor Jim Justice, and you adjourn until February. But have you started with your body to work on a agenda yet?
Yes, we absolutely have. In fact, I could kind of lay out the 4 pillars that we're, building the agenda around. And it is regulatory reform. We've been ranked, Hoppy, as the most onerous, burdensome regulatory environment in America. And we are aggressively going to knock down those some of the worthless regulatory schemes that have just impeded progress in West Virginia. So that's pillar 1. The other is our education environment, or system in West Virginia. It is a moral imperative for us to provide a world-class 21st century education to our students that allows them to compete on a national and international, worldwide basis. And we will not settle for 48th and 49th ranking in our education system. So we're going to aggressively go after education reform, as well as continue our path towards civil justice reform. We want a fair business, and job creators need to know they get a fair, predictable outcome in West Virginia. And we're going to continue that path. And then finally, and maybe equally as important as all the others, is tax reform. We need to provide a pro-growth means of raising revenue for the valid expenditures of our state. You can always say, well, raise this tax, and all that. We are not going down that path. We want tax reform in such a way that it provides growth incentives for job creators to put our people back to work.
Well,
so those are our 4 pillars.
That's a lot. Those are a lot of big bites there. So let's pick a couple of those right now. Let's talk about tax reform then, last to first. Let's talk about tax reform. And I think might be a meeting later today of lawmakers to talk about repeal of the inventory tax. The inventory tax is one that business really objects to because it is tax on stuff you have in your possession, in your inventory. There's no productivity associated with it. There's no profit associated with it, just inventory. So when you talk tax reform, are you talking about just, well, let's get rid of the inventory tax, or are you talking about sweeping reform in modernizing the tax code?
Yes, that is exactly what we're referring to. We have studies that indicate our tax structure in which we raise revenue. I mean, that's the purpose of a tax system, is to generate the necessary funds to operate government. It does not incent growth. We have, as you mentioned, this business inventory and property tax that taxes the very capital that is utilized to create jobs for our citizens. And so this isn't maybe just take a little bit exception in the way that you phrase business wants or complains about this tax. It's the job creators, the people that want to go to work, and the people that have an opportunity to gain gainful employment in West Virginia are hurt by that tax because it's not imposed in other states, particularly our surrounding states. They do not impose such a tax, and so the job creators are incented to go to another state to create their business and the capital that forms the businesses and the corporations that employ our people. And for us,
Senator, philosophically, is the intent on tax reform to broaden and lower? Because if you broaden, then there's going to be those who say, wait a minute, now my ox is being gored, although there would be an accompanying lowering of taxes for others. Is the intent for it to be revenue neutral, so you're not bringing in more money or you're not bringing in less money, but just making it broader and fairer? Or what is the philosophy behind what you want to do?
Okay. We have the philosophical orientation towards tax reform is to provide a pro-growth tax structure. Currently, we penalize those who are successful and the job creators with our tax system, such that as you become more successful, you're incented to be you're taxed out of existence, essentially. And so we want to provide the growth. And so as you properly characterize it, broaden the base, lower the rates, and provide growth incentives that as people succeed, as our citizens go back to work, additional revenue will come to the government, but only through growth and more people going to work, not increasing tax rates.
Senator Mitch Carmichael is with us. He's the majority leader, soon to be the Senate president. They have interim committee meetings. He's been meeting with the federal Republicans who are in West Virginia today. Senator, let's go to education, and again, there'll be time to talk about this when you get into session. But so I thought that we had done education reform, and I thought that the Department of Education was making progress on things like grading schools, which I think is significant. I mean, what else is there you want to do? Do you want to go down that Common Core road again, or where do you want to go with education reform?
Well, education reform has been approached in a very incremental phase. I mean, I think you'd agree. You know, we make a few changes here, a few changes there, and we wait on the results and see how they do and so forth. We need, Hoppy, it is, and I've heard you say, I mean, it is just ridiculous that we sit here with a 45th, 48th, 49th ranking in student performance. Our goal, and the education audit that was put forth that has not truly been adopted, is to return control of the education system to the local entities. We believe that our teachers are highly qualified and they deserve raises, and to the extent that we can find money to provide additional funds for teachers, we want to do that. But the teachers need the ability to ply their trade in the classroom, as opposed to centralized bureaucratic control from the capital city in Charleston. That's just not the way that we should operate our school systems. And we believe when you return control to the local entities, that student performance will be enhanced and teachers will be able to perform their tasks more efficiently and have a better job satisfaction from it.
Senator, I anticipate there will be an announcement very soon that Nick Casey will be the chief of staff for the new Justice Administration. Everybody knows everybody in West Virginia. You know Nick Casey. What do you think your ability will be to work with the Justice Administration and somebody like Nick Casey?
No, I think it'll be terrific. I think I have a lot of respect for Nick Casey, and look forward to working with him. And if that's the choice, but whoever the Justice Administration names in that role, we look forward to working with the new governor-elect to hear his plans, and certainly the legislature will not hesitate to assert our leadership roles and our opinions as we go through the process of making West Virginia the best state in America.
Will you get a budget in the regular session? How about that for us? Go ahead.
Well, a lot of that depends on what the governor's revenue estimates are and how he proposes the budget to the legislature. A lot of that depends. A lot of it's constitutional and so forth. Our goal will be to pass a budget in the regular session, and so that's our objective. As we run through the bills and as we get to the very last days, if there are bills that affect revenue or expenditures, you might have to extend for a couple of days, but it's certainly our objective to get this done in the regular session.
All right, Senator Mitch Carmichael, who is the Senate Majority Leader, soon to be Senate President. Congratulations on the election from your caucus, and it's good to speak with you. We'll be in close contact. Thank you for coming on today.
Hey, thank you, Hoppy, and have a great day.